What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we got our power rankings heading into week 3 of the college football season here for the Pac-12. Did have some pretty big changes, or not big changes, but a lot of teams moving around just a little bit. We're going to start out with number 1, Oregon State. Definitely looks like the worst team in the Pac-12. Their defense is absolutely horrible. I thought Oregon State might do a little better this year, but it doesn't look like it. So yeah, they're going to be probably in last place all year. But the next team is a team that I'm very surprised with, and that is Arizona State. They've now lost a couple of games in a row. They've been competitive in these games, not like they've been blown out. So maybe they can regroup and climb back up this list. But as for now, 2 losses. And I think maybe besides Oregon State, they're the only team with 2 losses. So they come in at number 11. They actually switched places with Arizona, who's up to number 10. They had a big win this past weekend, big game from Brandon Dawkins. So Arizona comes in at number 10 on our power rankings, heading into week 4 of the college football season. This next team has fallen quickly, very quickly, and that is the Stanford Cardinal. They are number 9 in our power rankings. I said Arizona State is the only team with 2 losses. I forgot, and Oregon State, but Stanford has 2 losses as well. They get blown out by USC. And then they lose to San Diego State. That's just not acceptable if you want to be, a playoff contender this year. So it's not looking good for Stanford as they drop to number 9. And probably the biggest surprise in the Pac-12 is this team that comes in at number 8, and that's Cal. Cal gets a big win over an SEC opponent. They beat Ole Miss. This team is now 3-0. They haven't played the toughest competition, but they have beaten North Carolina and Ole Miss. Those are 2 pretty impressive wins. We'll see how they do against USC this weekend. Number 7 is UCLA. I still think this team's pretty good. The offense is going to put up big numbers. Josh Rosen playing well. The defense struggling just a little bit at times. Struggling a lot against Memphis, actually. So they drop all the way down to number 7. Plenty of time to come back up from that, though. Number 6 is Colorado. These next 2 teams are very similar to me. In my eyes, both teams are undefeated. Both teams have looked very good, but both teams haven't really played anybody. So far so good for Colorado, and that other team that comes in at number 5, and you could put these in 5 or 6, you could switch them around however you want, but Utah comes in as well. Maybe a little bit better of a win over BYU, even though BYU does not really look all that good right now, but still Utah comes in here at number 5. And then up to number 4, we got Washington State. Actually, I don't think they haven't changed at all, but the big win over Oregon State. They finally get that offense going the way you would expect the Washington State offense to look. Luke Falk, big game last weekend. So Washington State up to number 4. And number 3, we got the Oregon Ducks. Oregon is back. I'm telling you, this team is really looking good right now. The offense, they're playing that good old normal Oregon offense, but that defense is playing better. And when you add that in there, this team is very dangerous, and I think they've got a real shot to win the Pac-12 North, as they're up to number 3. Number 2, the front runner in the Pac-12 North, the Washington Huskies. Haven't really played anybody yet, so a lot of these teams we really don't know too much about. But Washington still looks like they may be the best team there in the North if it's not Oregon. Washington State as well. So that division, it looks pretty tough, and you can't count Stanford out quite yet. They only have 1 conference loss. And USC comes in at number 1. A little shaky against Texas, but they get the job done. They get the win. They now have a win over Stanford, a win over Texas. So those are pretty decent wins for the Trojans. And I don't know if anybody else is going to take this top spot from them. But they'll have a pretty interesting test this weekend against Cal. So we'll see how that one goes. But that's going to do it for this week's Power Rankings. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.